You're watching Charter's Local Edition. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brad Pomerantz, and our guest is Professor Ellen Wartella. She is with the University of California at Riverside, and you are an expert in an area near and dear to my heart. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. They love watching television, and you're looking at the media's influence on children's development. What are you finding?
Well, the media are quite influential, is what we find.
Yes.
I think the most important thing for parents, what we need to tell parents, is that you should watch the amount of time that your children spend in front of the screen media. American Academy of Pediatrics recommends about 2 hours a day for kids over 2.
And that means media is television,
right?
Is internet,
computers, that's right.
Video games,
that's right.
So 2 hours total.
Of screen media.
That seems actually high to me.
Well, on average, children spend more time than that. They spend over 2.5, 3 hours.
To me, that's unacceptable.
Children under 6.
It's
I
just
agree.
unacceptable.
It's a lot of time.
But I can tell you, as the father of a 5 and a 7-year-old, it's quite a challenge.
It is a challenge. The other thing that you need to do is watch what they watch, too, and to make sure that the content is appropriate for them. I'm a firm believer of the school that says it's not just the amount of time that you spend, it's what you're watching that matters.
Why is it, though, that we see this epidemic in children obesity? And a lot of it is pointed to television.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was growing up, you know, there were some chubby kids, but not like today.
Right. I'll give you some statistics. In the 60s, about 5% of children between 6 and 19 were considered obese. By the early 2000s, that number had jumped to 16%, and another 15% are at risk for being obese. The Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences in 2006 did an analysis of the relationship between food marketing and childhood obesity. And that is absolutely the key. They found indeed that children's exposure to television advertising for kids under 12 was both related to their food preferences, their food choices, their diets, and most important, to adiposity, which is another word for fatness.
And what's interesting is, I mean, my girls watch the Disney Channel.
Oh! You call me wussy? Hold on. Oh, let me. Oh, come on. Why didn't you let me get my gun?
Over the last 2 decades, public concern about drugs has gone from 3% to over 50% and back to 3% in polls. And those shifts have absolutely nothing to do with the scale of the problem and everything to do with the volume of media coverage. The power of the media to define what issues are seen as important has to do with the relationship between what the media report and what they don't. Media influence in this sense is subtle but profound.